I'm so glad you found your way here. Your brain is creating entire worlds right now while you rest, building landscapes and characters from nothing but electrical signals and memory fragments. Tonight, you'll discover why some dreams let you know you're dreaming and understand what makes that magical awareness suddenly vanish. Welcome to Get Sleepy Science. Wherever you are right now, perhaps wondering about dreams you almost controlled, or feeling curious about consciousness itself, allow yourself this exploration. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about lucid dreaming's fragile edge, from the moment your sleeping brain realizes it's dreaming, to the delicate balance that keeps awareness alive in sleep, to the instant everything dissolves back into ordinary dreams or waking. This thoughtful journey through consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. A soft subscribe, like, or sharing your thoughts creates a pathway for more dream explorers to discover this space and brings us closer to protect this sanctuary. One sleepy soul at a time. Your journey inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into peaceful fog of approaching sleep. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where memories rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with infinite peace. And now we begin. A lucid dream is a dream where you know you're dreaming while the dream continues. According to research published in Nature Neuroscience in 2024, about 55% of people experience at least one lucid dream in their lifetime, and roughly 23% have them monthly. During these unusual moments, part of your brain wakes up while the rest stays deeply asleep. Your body remains paralyzed, as it does in normal REM sleep. But your awareness suddenly recognizes that the world around you isn't real. You might be flying through impossible landscapes or talking with people who don't exist. And somehow you know it. The sleeping mind becomes its own observer, watching the dream unfold while simultaneously participating. Recent advances in brain imaging are finally revealing how this happens. The term lucid dreaming was coined in 1913 by Dutch psychiatrist Frederik van Eden. Though people have described the experience for thousands of years, ancient Tibetan Buddhist texts mention dream yoga practices designed to cultivate awareness during sleep. Aristotle wrote about knowing you're dreaming around 350 BCE. But scientific proof came only in the late 1970s, when researchers at Stanford University asked lucid dreamers to move their eyes in specific patterns once they became lucid. Eye movements aren't paralyzed during REM sleep, so the dreamers succeeded, sending signals from inside their dreams to the waking world. This breakthrough demonstrated that lucid dreaming was a measurable state of consciousness that could be studied scientifically. Lucid dreams almost always happen during REM sleep, the stage when most vivid dreaming occurs. REM stands for rapid eye movement, named for the quick darting motions your eyes make beneath closed lids. This stage cycles through the night, appearing first about 90 minutes after you fall asleep, then returning every 90 to 120 minutes. Early REM periods last only 5 to 10 minutes, but later ones can extend for 20 to 35 minutes in healthy adults. Most lucid dreams occur during these longer REM periods in the second half of the night, when REM sleep is deepest and dreams are most elaborate. Your brain waves during REM look surprisingly similar to waking consciousness, with fast, irregular patterns. But in lucid dreams, certain areas of the brain activate even more than in regular REM sleep, creating a hybrid state between sleeping and waking. The prefrontal cortex plays a crucial role in lucid dreaming. This region, located just behind your forehead, handles logic, self-awareness, and decision-making when you're awake. During normal dreams, the prefrontal cortex is relatively quiet, which is why dream logic seems perfectly reasonable until you wake up. You accept that you can breathe underwater or that your childhood home has rooms that never existed. But during lucid dreams, brain imaging studies from 2024 show increased activity in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex specifically. This area enables metacognition, thinking about your own thoughts. When this area activates during REM sleep, you suddenly gain the ability to question your experience. That impossible staircase makes you pause. That familiar face on a stranger's body seems odd. And then the realization arrives, I'm dreaming. Neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers in your brain, shift dramatically during lucid dreams. Acetylcholine, which promotes REM sleep and dreaming, remains high just as it does in ordinary dreams. But recent research from 2024 suggests that during lucid dreams, there's also an increase in activity in brain regions associated with norepinephrine and dopamine. Norepinephrine is typically low during REM sleep, which is part of why regular dreams feel so emotionally intense but logically loose. When levels rise slightly during lucidity, the brain gains more executive control. Dopamine, associated with motivation and reward, may contribute to the euphoric feeling many lucid dreamers report. This delicate chemical balance creates a state where you're asleep enough to dream vividly, but awake enough to recognize the dream. It's a narrow window, and even small shifts in these chemicals can cause the lucidity to collapse. The experience of becoming lucid usually starts with a trigger, something odd that breaks through dream logic. Common triggers emerge gently. You might notice you can fly, impossibly light. You might see yourself in a mirror with features slightly wrong. Or you might encounter someone who has passed away, and their presence feels both familiar and strange. Many people report checking the time and seeing it change when they look away and back again. Others notice they can read text, but when they look at it a second time, the words have shifted. These reality checks work because the brain struggles to maintain consistent details in dreams. The visual cortex creates imagery, but the prefrontal cortex, which would normally track continuity, is less active. When something inconsistent catches your attention and the prefrontal cortex briefly engages, you might suddenly think, wait, this doesn't make sense. Am I dreaming? The moment that question forms, lucidity can dawn. False awakenings sometimes precede or follow lucid dreams. A false awakening is when you dream that you've woken up, often in your own bed, in your own room. Everything seems normal. You might reach for your phone or get up to start your day. Then something feels wrong. A clock showing an impossible time, a door in the wrong place, and you realize you're still dreaming. Research from 2024 indicates that false awakenings and lucid dreams share similar brain activation patterns, particularly in regions associated with self-awareness. They seem to exist on a spectrum of consciousness during sleep. Sometimes a false awakening leads directly to lucidity. Other times, you wake from a lucid dream into what you think is reality, only to discover it's another layer of dreaming. These nested dreams can feel unsettling, but they reveal how flexibly the brain constructs what we experience as real. Some people can induce lucid dreams intentionally using various techniques. One popular method is called MILD, which stands for Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Dreams, developed by Dr. Stephen LaBerge in the 1980s and refined through recent studies. Before falling asleep, you repeat a phrase like, "Next time I'm dreaming, I'll remember I'm dreaming," while visualizing yourself becoming lucid. Another technique, called WBTB, Wake Back to Bed, involves waking up after about 5 to 6 hours of sleep, staying awake briefly, then returning to sleep with the intention to lucid dream. This works because it places you directly into a REM-rich period when lucid dreams are most likely. Reality testing throughout the day. Asking yourself, "Am I dreaming?" and checking for dream signs can also train your mind to ask the same question while asleep. A 2024 study found that combining these methods increased lucid dream frequency by about 40% in regular practitioners. Children and teenagers report lucid dreams more frequently than adults. Surveys suggest that young people between ages 12 and 18 have the highest rates of spontaneous lucid dreaming, with frequencies sometimes 2 to 3 times higher than older adults. Researchers believe this may relate to brain development. The prefrontal cortex continues maturing into the mid-20s, and during adolescence, it's particularly active and flexible. Dreams during this period often feel more vivid and emotionally charged, which may make inconsistencies more noticeable. As people age, lucid dreams often become less frequent without intentional practice, though some individuals continue experiencing them regularly throughout life. The decline might reflect changes in sleep architecture. Adults spend less total time in REM sleep than teenagers. Or it might simply be that life's routines make us less likely to question our reality, even in dreams. So yes, lucid dreams represent a unique state of consciousness, where awareness blooms inside the sleeping mind. The brain creates a paradox: you're unconscious enough to dream, yet conscious enough to know it's a dream. This isn't waking, and it isn't ordinary sleep. It's something in between. A hybrid state researchers are only beginning to understand fully. And this fragile balance is constantly at risk of tipping one way or the other, back into regular dreaming where lucidity fades, or forward into waking where the dream dissolves completely. Understanding what sustains this balance and what breaks it requires looking deeper into the mechanics of both sleep and awareness. The brain's default mode network behaves differently during lucid dreams. This network, which includes regions like the medial prefrontal cortex and posterior cingulate cortex, is active when you're daydreaming or thinking about yourself. During normal REM sleep, the default mode network is disrupted, which is part of why dreams feel so strange and you rarely think about who you are as a person. But in lucid dreams, research from 2024 using advanced fMRI imaging shows the default mode network partially reactivates. This allows you to maintain a sense of self, to think I am dreaming rather than just experiencing the dream passively. However, this reactivation is incomplete. You're not fully self-reflective the way you are when awake. You might remember your name and your life, or you might not. This partial activation creates a fragile sense of identity that can easily slip away if the brain shifts back toward deeper sleep. Time perception changes in lucid dreams, though not in the way popular culture often suggests. Some people believe you can live hours or days inside a lucid dream that lasts only minutes. Research doesn't support this. Studies timing tasks performed in lucid dreams, like counting to 10 or singing a song, show that perceived time closely matches real time, typically within about 10 to 15% of actual duration. However, the subjective experience can feel stretched because of how densely packed with events dreams can be. You might visit 3 different locations, have multiple conversations, and experience several emotional shifts in what feels like a long time. When you wake and check the clock, only 15 minutes have passed. The richness of experience creates an illusion of duration, but the actual passage of time remains consistent with waking life. Emotions in lucid dreams tend to be less intense than in regular dreams, but more controllable. In ordinary nightmares, fear can feel overwhelming and inescapable. You run from danger without questioning why or wondering if there's another option. But when you become lucid, the emotional volume often decreases. A 2024 study on lucid dreaming and nightmare treatment found that when people realized they were dreaming during a nightmare, their fear levels dropped substantially, often by more than half. Some could even transform the threatening elements, turning monsters into harmless creatures or simply choosing to wake up. This emotional regulation happens because the prefrontal cortex, which helps manage emotions when awake, becomes more active during lucidity. You gain the same distance from dream emotions that you have from emotions in memories. You remember the feeling, but you're not consumed by it. Physical sensations in lucid dreams can feel surprisingly real. Touch, temperature, even taste can seem vivid and detailed. People report feeling the texture of fabric, the warmth of sunlight, the cold of water. This happens because the sensory cortex activates during dreams, much as it does during waking perception. Your brain creates these sensations from memory and expectation. If you decide to touch a wall in a lucid dream, your brain generates what it thinks a wall should feel like, based on every wall you've ever touched. Sometimes the sensation matches reality perfectly. Other times, it's slightly off, too smooth or too rough, which can actually reinforce lucidity by reminding you that this is a construct. The brain is both the creator and the experiencer, building a sensory world and then reacting to it as if it were external. The visual clarity of lucid dreams varies widely between individuals and even between different dreams. Some people describe lucid dreams as hyperreal, more vivid and detailed than waking life, with colors brighter and edges sharper. Others find lucid dreams slightly fuzzy or unstable, as if looking through a light fog. Research suggests this variation relates to individual differences in visual processing during sleep and how much of the visual cortex remains active. A 2024 study found that people who report more vivid mental imagery when awake also tend to have clearer lucid dreams. Interestingly, the clarity often fluctuates within a single lucid dream. It might start sharp, blur slightly, then sharpen again. This instability is one of the early warning signs that the dream is becoming fragile and lucidity might soon fade. Dream characters in lucid dreams sometimes seem to have independent awareness. This is one of the strangest aspects of the experience. You might talk to a person in your lucid dream and they respond in unexpected ways, saying things you didn't consciously plan. They might seem surprised when you announce you're dreaming, or they might react with their own apparent emotions. Neuroscientists believe these characters are still generated by your own mind, created by brain regions outside your conscious control. The same systems that create dialogue and behavior in regular dreams continue operating during lucid dreams. But because you're aware, the disconnect becomes more obvious. You're talking to yourself, but it doesn't feel that way. The dream character exists as a separate subconscious process, and that creates an eerie sense of encounter with another who is actually you. Memory formation during lucid dreams appears stronger than in regular dreams. Most dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking. Even vivid dreams fade quickly unless you immediately write them down or rehearse them mentally. But lucid dreams tend to be remembered much more clearly and for longer periods. Research from 2024 suggests this happens because the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for forming new memories, shows increased activity during lucid dreams compared to regular REM sleep. Additionally, because you're more consciously aware during the dream, you're encoding the experience similarly to how you encode waking memories. The combination means that lucid dreams often feel more like actual events than like typical dreams. People can recall them in detail years later, describing specific conversations, environments, and actions with unusual precision. The length of lucid dreams is typically short, especially for beginners, while experienced lucid dreamers can sometimes maintain awareness for 20 to 30 minutes or longer within a REM period. Most spontaneous lucid dreams last only a few minutes. Often, the initial excitement of realizing you're dreaming creates arousal that pulls you toward waking. Your heart rate might increase slightly. Your mind might race with possibilities. And these physiological changes disrupt the delicate balance needed to stay both asleep and aware. It's similar to trying to observe your own breathing without changing it. The act of noticing affects what you're noticing. With practice, lucid dreamers learn to stay calm when lucidity dawns, to observe without excitement, and to stabilize the dream through various techniques. But that initial rush of recognition often causes the whole experience to dissolve before it's barely begun. Spinning or rubbing your hands together are common techniques lucid dreamers use to stabilize fading dreams. These methods were popularized by Dr. Leberge's research in the 1980s and have been validated by thousands of practitioners since. When a lucid dream starts to blur or feels like it's collapsing, spinning in place or looking at your hands and rubbing them together can sometimes sharpen the imagery and maintain lucidity. Researchers believe this works by engaging sensory and motor areas of the brain, reinforcing the dream construction and preventing a full return to waking consciousness. It's not guaranteed to work, and it doesn't prevent all awakenings. But many experienced lucid dreamers report it extends their lucid episodes. The technique essentially distracts the mind from the awareness that might otherwise create enough arousal to wake you up fully. Sleep paralysis and lucid dreaming are closely related phenomena. Sleep paralysis occurs when you become conscious while your body remains in the REM-related state of atonia, where voluntary muscles are temporarily paralyzed. If you wake directly from REM sleep before the paralysis lifts, you might find yourself unable to move, sometimes with vivid hallucinations. Some people experience this as frightening, but experienced lucid dreamers sometimes use sleep paralysis intentionally as a gateway into lucid dreams. Rather than fighting the paralysis, they relax into it and allow themselves to slip back into a dream while maintaining awareness. This technique, called WILD, or Wake-Initiated Lucid Dreaming, creates lucid dreams that begin from conscious waking rather than from within an existing dream. It's difficult to master, but can produce particularly vivid and controllable experiences. Recurring dreams often become opportunities for lucidity. If you dream about the same place, situation, or theme repeatedly, you eventually might recognize it while dreaming. Someone who frequently dreams about being back in school might one day think, "Wait, I graduated years ago. This must be a dream." That recognition is a classic entry into lucidity. Research shows that people who pay attention to their dreams and keep dream journals become more familiar with their personal dream patterns, making it easier to spot them during sleep. The brain starts to tag these recurring elements as potentially unreal, creating what some researchers call dream signatures. Once you've identified your dream signatures through waking reflection, they can serve as automatic reality checks during future dreams, signaling that you're in the dream state. External stimuli can sometimes trigger or disrupt lucid dreams without fully waking you. A sound from the environment, like a phone notification or someone talking nearby, might partially penetrate your dream. If you're already in REM sleep, this intrusion might be incorporated into the dream in a distorted way. You might hear a siren in the dream when there's actually an alarm going off near you. If you're experienced with lucid dreaming, this moment of strangeness might be enough to trigger lucidity. You think, "Why would there be a siren here?" And the question leads to awareness. But often, external sounds or sensations destabilize the dream entirely. They create enough arousal to pull you out of REM sleep and toward lighter stages or full waking. This is why sleeping in a quiet, dark, comfortable environment increases the likelihood of sustained lucid dreams. Fewer disruptions mean fewer chances for the fragile state to collapse. Cultural attitudes toward dreaming influence how people experience and report lucid dreams. In Western societies, dreams are often viewed as random mental noise, meaningless byproducts of sleep. But in many indigenous cultures and Eastern traditions, dreams are considered meaningful, even sacred. Tibetan Buddhist monks practice dream yoga specifically to cultivate lucidity and use it for spiritual development. Australian Aboriginal cultures speak of the dream time as a parallel reality as real as waking life. Studies suggest that people raised in cultures that value dreams and teach dream practices from childhood experience lucid dreams more frequently and with less surprise. The brain seems to respond to cultural expectations. If you're taught that dreams are important and controllable, you're more likely to pay attention to them and develop the skills needed for lucidity. Context shapes consciousness. Even in sleep, lucid dreaming may offer therapeutic benefits, particularly for people with recurring nightmares. A treatment approach called imagery rehearsal therapy, combined with lucid dreaming techniques, helps trauma survivors and others who suffer from chronic nightmares. The idea is to become lucid during the nightmare and then either change the outcome or simply recognize it as a dream and reduce the fear response. Studies from 2024 show promising results, with many participants reporting significant reductions in nightmare frequency, often by half or more. After several weeks of practice, the technique works because it gives people a sense of control over their internal experience. Instead of being victims within the nightmare, they become active participants who can choose how the dream unfolds. This empowerment often carries over into waking life, reducing overall anxiety and improving sleep quality. These observations reveal that lucid dreams are not just rare curiosities, but windows into how consciousness itself works. They show us that awareness is not binary, not simply on or off, but exists in gradients and mixtures. You can be aware in some ways while completely unaware in others. You can observe your thoughts while thinking them, experience a world while knowing it's not real, feel emotions while simultaneously standing apart from them. This flexibility of consciousness is what makes lucid dreams both fascinating and fragile. The brain is balancing multiple processes simultaneously, trying to remain asleep while hosting waking-like awareness. And as we'll see, this balance is easily disturbed by dozens of subtle factors, any one of which can cause the lucidity to flicker and fade, returning you either to ordinary dreaming or pulling you all the way back to waking life. Let's pause here and notice your body as you breathe out slowly. Appreciate each tiny cell inside. Trillions of organisms working in silence, heart beating, lungs breathing, brain thinking, all without your command. Notice the gentle sensations on your skin, in your muscles, along your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, self-balancing. Now we continue. Maintaining a lucid dream requires keeping brain activity in a very specific range. Too much activation and you wake up. Too little and you slip back into regular dreaming. Neuroscientific research from 2024, using real-time EEG monitoring, shows that lucid dreamers maintain what's called gamma wave activity in the frontal regions of the brain, particularly around 25 to 40 Hz. Gamma waves are associated with heightened awareness and consciousness, even during waking. In regular REM sleep, gamma activity is minimal. But during lucid dreams, these fast oscillations appear in the prefrontal cortex, while the rest of the brain continues showing typical REM patterns. The presence of gamma waves seems to be what allows you to think clearly and critically inside the dream. When gamma activity drops, lucidity fades. When it spikes too high, you wake. The brain walks a tightrope between these extremes. Attention plays a crucial role in sustaining lucid dreams. In regular dreams, your attention jumps rapidly from one thing to another without much control, following whatever the dream presents. But during lucidity, you can direct your attention intentionally. You can choose to focus on a specific object, person, or sensation. This directed attention seems to strengthen the neural patterns supporting lucidity. Research suggests that experienced lucid dreamers are often people who also have strong attentional control when awake, such as meditators or individuals who practice mindfulness regularly. The ability to hold focus without getting distracted translates into the dream state. However, attention is effortful. If you focus too hard or try to control too much in the dream, the cognitive effort can create arousal that disrupts the balance. The key is gentle attention, noticing without grasping, observing without forcing. Expectation shapes what happens in lucid dreams, sometimes powerfully. If you expect to be able to fly, you probably will. If you expect a door to lead somewhere specific, it often does. But if you doubt your ability or expect the dream to collapse, it often will. This happens because dreams are generated by your own mind. and your beliefs influence what the mind creates. Studies of experienced lucid dreamers show that confidence and positive expectation help stabilize dreams and expand control. Anxiety or uncertainty tend to destabilize them. This creates an interesting feedback loop. Success breeds confidence, which breeds more success. But early failures can create doubt that makes further lucidity harder to maintain. It's similar to learning any skill. The psychological component matters as much as the technical knowledge. Believing you can sustain the dream helps your brain maintain the necessary neural patterns to actually do it. Engagement with the dream environment helps maintain lucidity. If you just stand still and think about the fact that you're dreaming, lucidity often fades quickly, or you wake up. But if you interact with the dream, touching objects, moving through space, talking to dream characters, the experience tends to stabilize. This happens because engaging your senses and motor systems keeps more of the brain actively involved in constructing the dream. The visual cortex works harder to render what you're looking at. The motor cortex activates as you move. The auditory cortex processes sounds. All this activity reinforces the dream construction and prevents the collapse back into either regular dreaming or waking. Experienced lucid dreamers often have routines they follow when they become lucid, like immediately looking at their hands, touching a wall, or focusing on a specific object. These actions serve as anchors, keeping the brain invested in the dream world. Emotional calmness is one of the strongest predictors of how long lucidity will last. When you first realize you're dreaming, there's often a surge of excitement. That excitement, while natural, is one of the main reasons lucidity ends quickly. Excitement increases physiological arousal. Your actual sleeping heart rate might increase slightly. Breathing might quicken. And these changes can pull you toward waking. Studies show that people who learn to stay emotionally neutral when they become lucid, treating the realization calmly rather than as thrilling event, maintain their lucid dreams significantly longer. This is counterintuitive because lucid dreaming feels like it should be exciting. But the more you can approach it with the same quiet awareness you'd bring to meditation, the more stable and prolonged the experience becomes. Wonder without arousal, curiosity without urgency, interest without intensity. The clarity of the dream environment provides feedback about stability. Experienced lucid dreamers learn to read the dream itself for signs of whether it's strengthening or weakening. If colors are bright and details are sharp, the dream is usually stable. If things start to blur, if edges become fuzzy, if the environment begins to feel vague or shadowy, these are warning signs that lucidity is fading. Some dreamers use this feedback to take corrective action, like using stabilization techniques or reducing their level of control and just observing for a while. Others simply note it and prepare for the dream to end. This meta-awareness, being aware not just that you're dreaming, but of the quality of the dream itself, develops with practice. You learn to feel the dream's texture, to sense whether it's solid or fragile, much like you might sense whether a conversation is going well or beginning to falter. Sleep depth influences lucidity's fragility. Earlier in the night, when sleep is deeper and the drive to sleep is strongest, it's harder to become lucid and harder to maintain it if it occurs. The brain's commitment to deep sleep overrides the partial waking needed for lucidity. Later in the night, typically in the early morning hours, sleep is lighter and REM periods are longer and more intense. This is when most lucid dreams occur naturally and when they tend to be most stable. The brain is closer to waking anyway, so the hybrid state of lucid dreaming is easier to sustain. However, being closer to waking also means you're more vulnerable to actual awakening from external disturbances. It's a trade-off. The conditions that make lucidity more likely also make complete waking more likely. The sweet spot exists in those final REM cycles, before your normal wake time, when sleep is light enough for awareness, but deep enough to support vivid dreaming. Practice strengthens the neural pathways associated with lucid dreaming. Regular lucid dreamers often report that their dreams become more stable over time, that they can maintain lucidity longer and with less effort. Brain imaging studies suggest this reflects actual changes in how the brain functions during sleep. With repeated experiences of lucidity, the connections between the prefrontal cortex and other brain regions during REM sleep may strengthen. It's similar to any form of learning. The first time you do something, it requires intense concentration and effort. With repetition, it becomes more automatic and fluid. The brain optimizes the pathways, reducing the cognitive load required. Eventually, experienced lucid dreamers report that becoming lucid and staying lucid feels natural rather than effortful. The brain has learned the pattern and can slip into it more easily, maintaining the necessary balance without constant conscious intervention. Diet and sleep quality affect lucid dreaming frequency and stability. Poor sleep, whether from stress, irregular schedules, or sleep disorders, reduces REM sleep overall and makes lucid dreams less likely. Certain supplements, particularly those that affect acetylcholine levels, have been studied for their potential to enhance lucid dreaming. Galantamine, a compound found in some plants and used medically for Alzheimer's disease, increases acetylcholine activity and has shown promise in research settings. The 2024 study found that participants taking galantamine before a morning nap after several hours of waking experienced significantly increased lucid dream frequency compared to placebo. However, any substance that alters brain chemistry can also have side effects, and researchers caution against using supplements without understanding the risks. Natural approaches, like maintaining consistent sleep schedules and getting adequate total sleep, remain the foundation for healthy dreaming of all kinds. The content of the dream itself can either support or undermine lucidity. Dreams that are bizarre or fantastical make lucidity more likely because the strangeness triggers questioning. Dreams that closely mimic waking life are harder to recognize as dreams because there are fewer obvious cues. Interestingly, once you're lucid, highly realistic dreams can sometimes be more stable because there's less cognitive load involved in maintaining them. The brain doesn't have to work as hard to render a realistic bedroom as it does to construct an alien landscape. But fantastical dreams, while easier to become lucid in, can also be harder to control and more prone to sudden shifts. The dream might morph unexpectedly, throwing you off balance, or your attempt to control something might fail, which can trigger doubt and collapse the lucidity. The relationship between dream content and lucidity is complex, varying between individuals and even between different dreams for the same person. Sleep position might influence lucid dreaming, though research on this is still emerging. Some people report more frequent lucid dreams when sleeping on their backs, while others find side sleeping more conducive. One theory is that back sleeping may lead to lighter, more fragmented REM sleep, which could increase the chances of brief awakenings that transition into lucid dreams. Back sleeping is also associated with a higher incidence of sleep paralysis, which, as mentioned earlier, can be a gateway to lucidity for those who know how to navigate it. However, back sleeping also increases the risk of snoring and sleep apnea, which disrupt sleep quality overall. There's no universal best position. The relationship between body position and dreaming appears to be individual, influenced by factors like sleep apnea risk, comfort, and personal sleep architecture. Experimenting with sleep position is something some lucid dreamers try, but it's not a reliable technique on its own. Mental rehearsal before sleep can prime the brain for lucidity. Visualization exercises, where you imagine yourself recognizing you're dreaming and then taking specific actions, appear to increase the likelihood of actually becoming lucid. This technique, part of the MILD method, works by creating a kind of mental template. You're essentially practicing the experience of lucidity while awake, which makes it more likely to occur during sleep. Research from cognitive psychology shows that mental rehearsal activates many of the same brain regions as actual experience. By repeatedly imagining the moment of recognition, "I'm dreaming," you're strengthening the neural patterns associated with that realization. When similar patterns begin to form during actual REM sleep, the brain may more readily complete them, triggering lucidity. It's a form of priming, setting up the conditions for a specific type of awareness to emerge. Social factors can influence lucid dreaming experiences. Talking about dreams with others, joining online communities of lucid dreamers, or participating in dream groups seems to increase both the frequency of lucid dreams and people's motivation to develop the skill. This social element provides accountability, encouragement, and shared knowledge. When you tell someone you're trying to have a lucid dream, you're more likely to follow through with practices like reality testing or dream journaling. When you read about others' successes, it reinforces your belief that lucidity is possible and achievable. This community effect isn't unique to lucid dreaming. It appears in any skill-based practice, but it's particularly relevant here because lucid dreaming is an inherently private, subjective experience that can feel isolating. Knowing others are exploring the same territory makes the journey feel more legitimate and supported, which in turn affects how your brain approaches sleep and dreaming. Technology is beginning to play a role in lucid dream induction and maintenance. Devices that detect REM sleep through eye movements or EEG patterns can deliver subtle cues, like lights, sounds, or gentle vibrations during REM periods. The idea is that these cues penetrate the dream without waking you fully, signaling that you're dreaming. Some users report success with these devices, claiming they increase lucid dream frequency. However, studies show mixed results. For some people, the cues work as intended, gently triggering awareness. For others, they either wake the person up completely or aren't noticed in the dream at all. A 2024 review of lucid dream induction technology concluded that while promising, these tools work best when combined with traditional techniques like reality testing and mental preparation. Technology can provide a nudge, but it can't force the brain into lucidity. The internal conditions still matter most. So the evidence reveals that maintaining lucidity is a skill involving multiple factors working together, Brain activity must stay in a narrow range. Attention must be directed, but not forced. Emotions must remain calm. The dream environment must be engaged. Expectations must be positive, but not urgent. Sleep quality, mental preparation, even social support, all contribute. It's not one thing that keeps you lucid. It's an ecosystem of conditions. And because so many elements are involved, there are equally many ways for lucidity to fail. Any single factor shifting out of balance can cause the whole structure to collapse. This is why lucid dreams feel so precious and fleeting. You're balancing on the edge of a very narrow possibility, and the slightest misstep sends you tumbling back into ordinary dreaming or forward into waking. Understanding what disrupts that balance is the next part of the story. You're still here, thoughts still flickering like candlelight. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is. We're exploring consciousness itself, the very thing doing the exploring right now. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Let's drift onward together. Among all these factors, emotional spikes are one of the most common reasons lucid dreams end abruptly. Strong emotions, whether positive or negative, create physiological arousal that disrupts sleep. Fear is particularly powerful. If you become lucid during a nightmare and feel a surge of relief or lingering fear, that emotional intensity can pull you straight into waking. But even positive emotions have the same effect. Excitement, joy, exhilaration. These can all generate enough arousal to break the REM state. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing changes. Stress hormones might release into your bloodstream. The body starts preparing to wake up, and the dream can't survive that transition. Learning to modulate emotions during lucid dreams is one of the hardest skills to master. You have to find a way to experience the dream without reacting strongly to it. To stay interested but not thrilled. Curious but not amazed. Engaged but not overwhelmed. Overthinking can collapse lucidity just as easily as strong emotions. When you become lucid, there's a temptation to start planning what to do, to think about all the possibilities, to analyze the experience as it's happening. But this kind of active, deliberate thinking engages the prefrontal cortex in a way that's more characteristic of waking than dreaming. If the prefrontal cortex activates too much, it can tip the balance and pull you out of REM sleep entirely. The brain essentially wakes up fully because you're asking it to perform waking-level cognitive tasks. Experienced lucid dreamers describe a state of relaxed awareness, where they observe and interact without extensive planning or analysis. They make decisions intuitively rather than deliberatively. They go with the flow of the dream while maintaining just enough awareness to know they're dreaming. It's a delicate mental posture, engaged but not effortful. Trying to exert too much control often backfires. One of the appeals of lucid dreaming is the idea that you can control the dream. Make anything happen. Go anywhere. Do anything. But in practice, attempting to impose your will strongly on the dream frequently causes it to resist or collapse. You try to fly and nothing happens, which creates frustration. You try to summon a specific person and someone else appears, which creates confusion. These failures undermine your confidence, which, as we've discussed, weakens lucidity. Moreover, the effort of trying to control the dream is itself arousing. You're working, concentrating, pushing, and all that mental activity increases brain activation beyond the levels compatible with REM sleep. Paradoxically, accepting the dream's own logic and working within it tends to result in more stable, longer lucid dreams than trying to dominate and reshape everything. Lucidity is more about awareness than control. Sudden changes in dream scenery can destabilize lucidity, even if you're not trying to control the dream. The dream itself might shift abruptly, the way non-lucid dreams often do. You're in one place and then suddenly somewhere completely different, with no transition. These jarring shifts can overwhelm your sense of continuity and cause you to either lose awareness or wake up. It's as if the brain can't reconcile the sudden change with the ongoing narrative of conscious experience. In regular dreams, these shifts don't matter because you're not tracking continuity. But when you're lucid, you're more like you are when awake, expecting cause and effect, expecting smooth transitions. When the dream violates those expectations dramatically, it creates cognitive dissonance. Your brain might respond by exiting the dream state entirely. Some lucid dreamers report that accepting sudden shifts without questioning them helps maintain lucidity, essentially loosening their grip on waking logic. Physical sensations from the sleeping body can intrude into the dream and disrupt lucidity. If your sleeping position becomes uncomfortable, if you need to use the bathroom, if you're too hot or too cold, these bodily signals can penetrate the dream. You might notice them as strange sensations in the dream itself, or they might pull you directly toward waking. Once you become aware of your physical body, it's very difficult to maintain the dream. The awareness of your actual body lying in bed conflicts with the dream experience, creating a split in attention. You're trying to be in two places at once, and usually the physical body wins. This is why sleep comfort matters for lucid dreaming. A supportive mattress, appropriate temperature, an empty bladder. These practical factors reduce the likelihood that physical sensations will intrude and break the dream. The more your body can remain comfortably unnoticed, the longer the mind can stay immersed in the dream world. External sounds are frequent disruptors, even if they don't wake you fully. A door closing, a car passing outside, someone in another room talking. These sounds might be incorporated into your dream in distorted ways. But during lucidity, when your awareness is sharper, you might recognize the sound as external. You think, "That's my alarm," or "Someone's calling my name." And that recognition pulls your attention toward the waking world. Your brain starts orienting toward the external environment rather than the internal dream. Even if you don't fully wake, lucidity often fades at this point. You slip back into regular dreaming where external sounds are more easily woven into dream narratives without breaking the spell. This is one reason why early morning hours, when the household is quiet and environmental noise is minimal, are optimal for stable lucid dreams. Fewer interruptions mean fewer opportunities for attention to be pulled outward. The act of trying to remember your dreaming can itself disrupt the dream. Some lucid dreamers get so focused on maintaining awareness, repeatedly reminding themselves, I'm dreaming," that the effort becomes counterproductive. This conscious repetition requires working memory and executive function, processes that increase prefrontal activity. While some prefrontal activity is necessary for lucidity, too much tips the brain toward waking. It's another paradox. You need to remember you're dreaming, But you can't try too hard to remember. The solution experienced lucid dreamers find is to let lucidity settle into the background. Rather than constantly asserting it, you allow it to become the context for the experience. You're lucid in the same way you're aware of breathing, present, but not requiring constant attention. The lucidity becomes ambient rather than focal, which allows it to persist without creating arousal. Dream instability itself, independent of your actions, can end lucidity. Some dreams are simply less stable than others. For reasons that aren't fully understood, the dream environment might start flickering. Objects might morph. The scene might feel increasingly vague or dreamlike in an obvious way. These signs indicate that the REM period is ending, or that brain activity is shifting. There's not much you can do when the dream's underlying stability fails. Stabilization techniques might extend the dream briefly, but often the collapse is inevitable. The REM period is concluding, and your brain is transitioning to a different sleep stage or toward waking. Lucidity cannot persist through these transitions. It requires the specific conditions of REM sleep. Once those conditions dissolve, lucidity dissolves with them. Recognizing when a dream is naturally ending, rather than fighting it, can make the experience less frustrating and help you wake more peacefully. Attempting to do something impossible in the dream can sometimes break lucidity. Flying, walking through walls, teleporting. These are classic lucid dream activities. But if you attempt one and it fails, the failure can undermine your belief in the dream's malleability, which in turn weakens your lucidity. You might think, wait, if I can't fly, maybe this isn't a dream after all, which creates confusion. Or the effort of trying and failing creates frustration that increases arousal. Interestingly, some lucid dream researchers suggest starting with small, believable actions when you first become lucid, like reading text or looking at your hands, before attempting dramatic feats. This builds confidence gradually and allows lucidity to stabilize. Jumping straight into trying to reshape reality dramatically can stress the dream's coherence. It's like testing the ice before skating on it, making sure it's solid before you put your full weight on it. Halfway through our journey, a pattern is emerging. Lucid dreams end not from a single cause, but from the accumulation of small instabilities. A slight emotional rise, a moment of overthinking, an external sound, an attempt at control that misfires. Any one of these might be manageable, but together they compound. The brain is trying to maintain an improbable state, and each disruption adds strain. Eventually, something tips the balance. Either the arousal builds enough to pull you into waking, or the awareness fades enough that you slip back into ordinary dreaming. Most lucid dreams end quietly, not with a dramatic jolt, but with a gentle dissolving. The colors dim, the clarity softens. You forget briefly that you were dreaming, and when you remember again, you're already awake, or the dream has continued without you noticing it. The reasons for waking are, in essence, the same reasons waking and sleeping exist as separate states. The brain cannot easily be both at once. Lucidity is the exception, and exceptions are inherently unstable. Take a deep breath. Let each breath guide you to realize time is yours, a separate stream that only you are living, while the vast universe continues to spin, expand, change. This second, This second you're breathing, listening, is unique. Cherish the present moment, knowing that right now, your time is unique in the universe, and we continue drifting. The brain has a built-in bias toward preserving sleep. Sleep is essential for survival. More immediately critical than food in some ways. After just a few days without sleep, cognitive function deteriorates dramatically. After long enough, sleep deprivation can be fatal. Evolution has made sleep a powerful drive, difficult to resist or disrupt. When you're asleep, the brain prioritizes staying asleep, lucidity, by introducing waking-like awareness, threatens that priority. It's not that the brain deliberately shuts down lucidity, but it responds to increased activation by trying to restore the deeper unconsciousness of normal sleep or by moving toward full waking. The brain treats lucidity as an anomaly to be corrected. You can train yourself to navigate this bias, which is what experienced lucid dreamers do. But the underlying tendency remains. Sleep wants to be complete. Waking wants to be complete. The in-between state is precarious. REM sleep is more fragile than other sleep stages. During REM, the brain is highly active, almost as active as during waking. But the body is paralyzed, and consciousness is usually turned inward toward dreams. This creates a paradoxical state that's easily disrupted. Any increase in external awareness, any significant change in physiological arousal, and REM sleep can collapse into waking or shift into lighter, non-REM stages. Lucid dreams amplify this fragility because they increase brain activity even beyond typical REM levels. The gamma waves associated with lucidity push the brain closer to the edge of waking. It's like the brain is running a high-wire act, and lucidity adds weight to one side. The slightest imbalance sends you falling into either regular dreaming on one side or waking on the other. The window for stable lucidity is narrow because REM itself is unstable, and lucidity makes it more so. Arousal thresholds differ between individuals, affecting how easily lucid dreams collapse. Some people have low arousal thresholds, meaning they wake easily from sleep due to sounds, light, or internal thoughts. Others have high thresholds and can sleep through significant disturbances. People with low arousal thresholds often find it harder to maintain lucid dreams because the increased awareness tips them into waking more readily. They become lucid, feel the excitement, or engage mentally, and pop awake almost immediately. People with higher thresholds might find it easier to sustain lucidity because their brains tolerate higher activation without fully waking. However, they might also find it harder to become lucid in the first place because their brains are more committed to deep sleep. These individual differences are partly genetic, partly influenced by factors like stress, sleep quality, and age. Understanding your own arousal threshold can help you tailor lucid dreaming practices to work with your brain's tendencies. The brain actively suppresses certain kinds of awareness during sleep. Normally, you're not aware of your body's position. You don't track time. You don't monitor your environment. These suppressions are protective. They allow the brain to focus on internal processes like memory consolidation and emotional regulation without distraction. Lucid dreaming partially lifts these suppressions. You regain self-awareness, environmental awareness, critical thinking, but the brain's default is to reimpose them. It's as if the brain is constantly trying to turn lucidity off, to return to the normal suppressed state of dreaming. This creates a kind of cognitive friction. You're trying to stay aware while the brain is trying to make you unaware. The longer you fight this tendency, the more effort it requires, and the more likely it is that either exhaustion or arousal will end the lucidity. It's not sustainable indefinitely. Sleep cycles naturally progress toward waking as the night continues. Each REM period brings you closer to the wakeful state. By the final REM period before morning, the boundary between sleeping and waking is thinnest. This is both why lucid dreams are more common in early morning and why they're more likely to end in full waking rather than returning to regular dreaming. Your brain is preparing to wake up anyway. When lucidity occurs during this period, there's not much sleep left to retreat into. If something disrupts the lucidity, the path of least resistance is often forward into complete waking. Your eyes open. You're in your bed. The dream is gone. Earlier in the night, a disruption might drop you back into deep sleep or non-lucid REM. But in the morning, you're balanced on the edge of waking, and any push sends you over. This natural progression is unavoidable. Sleep is temporary. Dreams are temporary, and lucid dreams, even more so. The brain prioritizes survival-relevant processing over dream awareness. If during REM sleep your brain detects something that might be important for immediate survival, a loud, unexpected noise, a physical sensation suggesting danger, it will abandon the dream immediately and wake you up. This is adaptive. Dreams are valuable for memory and emotion processing, but they're not essential for immediate survival in the way waking awareness is. If there's a threat, the brain needs to respond in the real world, not the dream world. Lucidity doesn't change this priority. In fact, because you're more aware during lucid dreams, you might be more likely to notice and react to potential threats. A sound that would be woven into a regular dream without waking you might, during lucidity, be recognized as real and trigger awakening. The survival instinct overrides the desire to maintain the dream. The brain has millions of years of evolution saying, when in doubt, wake up. Lucid dreaming is very new in evolutionary terms. It hasn't had time to develop protective mechanisms against this override. Neurochemical fluctuations during REM sleep can destabilize lucidity without any external cause. The balance of neurotransmitters shifts throughout the night and even within individual REM periods. Acetylcholine rises and falls. Norepinephrine, normally low during REM, might spike briefly. Serotonin and dopamine levels fluctuate. These changes are part of normal sleep architecture, regulating the transitions between sleep stages and maintaining homeostasis. But they create an unstable chemical environment for lucidity. A brief drop in dopamine might reduce your motivation to maintain awareness. A spike in norepinephrine might increase arousal enough to wake you. These fluctuations are largely outside your conscious control. You can influence them somewhat through lifestyle, diet, sleep habits, but you can't prevent them entirely. They represent an inherent chemical instability in the sleeping brain that lucid dreams must navigate. Sometimes you navigate successfully. Sometimes the chemicals shift and the lucidity simply ends. The brain's memory systems can interfere with dream stability. During REM sleep, the hippocampus is actively consolidating memories from waking life, integrating them with existing knowledge. This process sometimes bleeds into dream content, which is why dreams often feature recent experiences mixed with older memories. But during lucid dreams, when the hippocampus is more active than usual, this memory processing can become more intrusive. You might suddenly remember something you need to do tomorrow, or a conversation you had yesterday, and that memory pulls your attention away from the dream. Your focus shifts from the dream environment to waking concerns. This shift is often enough to either collapse the lucidity or pull you into waking. The brain struggles to fully separate dreaming from waking memory systems during lucidity. They begin to interfere with each other, and eventually one dominates. Usually, the waking memories win, bringing you back to full consciousness. Dream content that becomes too realistic can paradoxically end lucidity. When the dream closely mimics waking life, your apartment, your bed, ordinary activities, it becomes harder to maintain the awareness that you're dreaming. There are no obvious cues to reinforce lucidity. The dream feels too normal. Your critical thinking relaxes because there's nothing to question. Gradually, you forget you're dreaming and slip back into regular dream consciousness. Alternatively, if the dream is too realistic, you might start to doubt whether you're actually dreaming. Maybe I already woke up. Maybe this is real. That doubt creates uncertainty, which undermines the confident awareness needed to sustain lucidity. Experienced lucid dreamers sometimes intentionally seek out or create bizarre elements in the dream. Flying, impossible architecture, just to remind themselves it's not real. The strangeness serves as an anchor for lucidity. Too much normalcy lets the awareness slip away unnoticed. Sleep deprivation affects both the frequency and stability of lucid dreams in complex ways. When you're sleep deprived and then finally get adequate sleep, REM becomes more intense through a phenomenon called REM rebound. The brain compensates for lost REM time, creating more vivid and prolonged REM periods. This can make dreams more bizarre, which might increase the chances of becoming lucid. Some people report more frequent lucid dreams after a period of poor sleep. However, the lucid dreams that occur during REM rebound are often less stable and harder to control. The brain is so desperate for REM sleep that it resists anything that might interfere, including lucidity. The dreams may collapse more easily, or you might find yourself unable to maintain awareness despite recognizing you're dreaming. Additionally, chronic sleep deprivation impairs prefrontal cortex function even during waking hours, and this impairment likely carries over into sleep, making the metacognitive awareness needed for lucidity harder to achieve. Adequate, regular sleep remains the foundation for healthy lucid dreaming. Age-related changes in sleep architecture affect lucid dreaming. As people age, they typically spend less time in REM sleep and more time in lighter sleep stages. Deep sleep decreases, and sleep becomes more fragmented, with more frequent, brief awakenings. These changes reduce the overall opportunity for lucid dreams to occur. Older adults often report having fewer lucid dreams than they did in youth, even if they were frequent lucid dreamers earlier in life. Additionally, age-related changes in brain structure and function, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, may make the metacognitive awareness of lucidity harder to achieve or maintain. However, some older adults continue to have lucid dreams regularly, especially if they maintain practices like meditation or dream journaling. The decline is not inevitable, but it reflects broader changes in how the aging brain sleeps. Lucid dreaming becomes more effortful and less spontaneous, requiring more intentional cultivation. Medications and substances can dramatically affect lucid dream stability. Anything that alters neurotransmitter levels or sleep architecture will influence dreaming. Antidepressants, particularly SSRIs, often suppress REM sleep or alter its quality, which can reduce dream recall and make lucid dreams rare. Alcohol disrupts sleep architecture, suppressing REM early in the night and causing REM rebound later, leading to fragmented, unstable dreams. Cannabis similarly affects REM sleep, often reducing it significantly during regular use and causing intense REM rebound if use stops suddenly. Stimulants like caffeine, if consumed too late in the day, can increase arousal during sleep, making it easier to wake from lucid dreams prematurely. Even over-the-counter sleep aids like antihistamines can alter sleep stages in ways that affect dreaming. If you're taking any medication and notice changes in your dream experiences, including difficulty maintaining lucidity, the medication is a likely factor. Always consult with healthcare providers before changing medications. Stress and anxiety in waking life carry over into sleep and affect lucid dreaming. When you're stressed, your body produces cortisol and other stress hormones that can persist into the night. These hormones alter sleep architecture, increasing the time spent in lighter sleep stages and reducing deep sleep and REM sleep quality. Anxiety also increases arousal levels generally, making you more likely to wake from sleep in response to small disturbances. For lucid dreaming, this means that even if you become lucid, the underlying stress and arousal make the state more unstable. You might find it harder to stay calm, harder to control the dream, and easier to wake up. Stress can also manifest in dream content as nightmares or anxious scenarios, which make lucidity less pleasant and harder to maintain. Managing waking stress through exercise, meditation, therapy, or other techniques often translates into better sleep quality and more stable dreams, including lucid ones. The mind asleep reflects the mind awake. Circadian rhythms influence when and how lucid dreams occur and end. Your circadian clock regulates not just when you sleep, but the structure of sleep throughout the night. REM sleep is more abundant in the later part of your sleep period, aligned with the rising portion of your circadian rhythm. This is why early morning dreams are often most vivid and why lucid dreams cluster in these hours. However, circadian disruption from shift work, jet lag, or irregular sleep schedules can scatter REM periods unpredictably and reduce their quality. Lucid dreams may become harder to achieve or may end more abruptly because the brain's internal clock is confused about whether it should be sleeping or waking. Maintaining a consistent sleep schedule helps align your circadian rhythms with your sleep opportunity, creating more predictable and stable REM periods. This consistency provides a more reliable foundation for lucid dreaming. We now understand that the brain exits lucidity through multiple interconnected pathways. Arousal builds from emotions, effort, or external stimuli. Neurochemicals shift. Sleep cycles progress toward waking. Fragility inherent in REM sleep reasserts itself. Individual differences in arousal thresholds, age, health, and habits all play roles. The brain is not trying to sabotage your lucid dreams, but it's also not designed to maintain them easily. Lucidity exists in tension with the brain's fundamental need to either sleep fully or wake fully. Every moment of lucid dreaming is the brain compromising between these two drives. And compromises are inherently unstable. They can only last so long before one side wins. Understanding this helps remove the frustration from lucid dreams ending. They end because they must. The remarkable thing is not that they end, but that they occur at all. One manifestation of these exit pathways is the false awakening. False awakenings can signal the end of lucidity or the transition back into regular dreaming. You might be lucid, then wake up in your bed, only to realize after a moment that you're still dreaming. This can lead to a second layer of lucidity, where you're lucid within a false awakening. But more often, the false awakening marks the loss of lucidity. You accept the false waking as real and go about dream activities without awareness. The brain has transitioned from the heightened awareness of lucidity back into ordinary dream consciousness. False awakenings represent the brain's attempt to integrate the confusing state of lucidity into a more familiar narrative. I was dreaming. Now I'm awake, even though you're still asleep. This resolution of the paradox often feels satisfying to the sleeping mind, which is why lucidity ends. The tension is released. The brain finds a story that makes sense, and awareness slips away into that story. The phenomenon of dream forgetting sometimes begins even before you fully wake. You're lucid. Then you realize you're starting to forget parts of the dream while still in it. Details blur. Earlier sections of the dream become hazy. You feel the memory slipping away in real time. This can be disorienting and often precipitates either waking or loss of lucidity. The brain is beginning to purge dream content, a process that normally happens after waking. Dream memories are fragile, stored temporarily in neural patterns that dissipate quickly without conscious rehearsal. During lucid dreams, because you're more aware, you might notice this forgetting process happening. It's like watching a drawing slowly erase itself. This awareness of forgetting can create anxiety, which increases arousal, which often ends the dream. Or the act of forgetting makes the dream feel less coherent. And coherence is necessary for lucidity. Either way, the dream dissolves, sometimes into another dream, sometimes into waking. Lucidity can end simply from the exhaustion of maintaining awareness. Staying lucid requires mental effort, not intense effort, but sustained gentle attention. Over time, that effort accumulates. Your mental energy, even in sleep, is finite. Eventually, you tire of being aware. The brain takes the path of least resistance and lets lucidity lapse. You don't necessarily wake up, you just stop knowing you're dreaming. The dream continues, but you're no longer conscious that it's a dream. You're back in the familiar state of ordinary dreaming where things just happen to you. This kind of ending is peaceful. Like setting down something you've been carrying, the effort stops. And with it, the awareness. Many lucid dreamers report this as the most common way their lucid dreams end. Not with a bang, but with a gentle fade. Awareness simply gets tired and rests. The brain's inability to sustain contradictions indefinitely contributes to lucidity's collapse. When you're lucid, you're holding two contradictory truths simultaneously. This is real, the sensory experience of the dream, and this is not real, the knowledge that you're dreaming. The brain is built to resolve contradictions, to create coherent narratives. Holding paradox is uncomfortable and effortful. Eventually, the brain seeks resolution. Either it commits to, "This is real," and you lose lucidity and become absorbed in the dream, or it commits to, "This is not real," and you wake up. The middle ground, where both are true, cannot be sustained indefinitely. Philosophers and mystics talk about paradox as a doorway to deeper understanding. But the sleeping brain doesn't philosophize. It resolves. And resolution means lucidity ends. One way or another, lucid dreams sometimes end because you accomplish what you set out to do. If you became lucid with a goal, to fly, to meet someone, to explore a specific place, once you achieve it, your motivation to maintain the dream may decrease. You relax, satisfied. And that relaxation allows the dream to either shift into non-lucid dreaming or collapse into waking. Interestingly, having no goal, just floating in observation, can sometimes sustain lucidity longer because there's no completion point. The dream continues as long as you're interested. But most people enter lucid dreams with some intention, even if it's just stay lucid as long as possible. Once any goal is met, or once you decide you're done, the brain often complies and exits the state. The ending feels natural, even chosen. You're satisfied, and satisfaction is a form of conclusion. The brain accepts the conclusion and moves on. The realization that nothing in a lucid dream has consequences can be both liberating and destabilizing. You can do anything without real-world repercussions. This freedom is deeply appealing for many people, but it can also create a sense of meaninglessness. If nothing matters, why engage? This philosophical question sometimes arises during lucid dreams, especially longer or more reflective ones. When you start to feel that the dream is empty or pointless, your investment in it decreases. You stop caring whether you remain lucid. Apathy replaces curiosity. And without curiosity or engagement, lucidity has no anchor. The brain drifts back toward regular dreaming or simply wakes up. This highlights an interesting psychological truth even in dreams. Meaning matters. We need to feel that what we're doing has some value, even if it's just beauty, exploration, or play. When that sense of value disappears, so does the motivation to stay present. Some lucid dreams end because the dream narrative itself demands an ending. The dream has built to a climax, a moment of resolution, and your brain treats it like a story. Stories end. Once the resolution comes, the dream concludes, and you wake or transition to another dream. You might be lucid within a dream that has a plot, and when the plot resolves, the lucidity ends with it. This suggests that even during lucidity, deeper narrative structures in the brain continue to operate. You're aware, but you're still embedded in a story your subconscious is creating. When that story reaches its natural end, lucidity cannot persist beyond it. The framework supporting the dream dissolves, and lucidity, which depends on that framework, dissolves too. It's like actors in a play becoming aware they're acting but still following the script. When the script ends, the performance ends, regardless of awareness. The longer a lucid dream lasts, the more likely it is to end. This might seem obvious, but it reflects a statistical reality. Each moment in a lucid dream carries a small probability of collapse. The longer the dream continues, the more moments there are, and thus more opportunities for something to go wrong. A thought, an emotion, a shift in the dream, an external sound. Over time, the cumulative probability approaches certainty. Very few lucid dreams last longer than 30 minutes, and those that do are almost always the product of highly experienced practitioners who've trained extensively. For most people, lucid dreams last a few minutes at most. The probability curve is steep. The first minute has a certain chance of ending. The second minute, given you survived the first, has another chance. By the 10th minute, almost all lucid dreams have ended. This isn't a flaw. It's the nature of a precarious state. You're defying the odds every second you remain lucid. Lucid dreams teach us that consciousness is not a binary state, but a spectrum. You can be partially aware in some dimensions, but not others. Aware of awareness itself, or lost in experience. The boundaries between sleeping, dreaming, and waking are not solid lines, but gradients. Lucidity exists in one of those gradients, a space between. And because it's a gradient, it's subject to flow. Water doesn't stay on a slope indefinitely. It runs downhill. Lucidity doesn't stay in the middle indefinitely. It slides toward one extreme or the other. The brain prefers the valleys, deep sleep or full waking, not the slopes. Staying on the slope requires constant adjustment, et constant balance. Eventually, you slip, not because you failed, but because slopes are slippery. The brain returns to what it knows, to the stable states, and lucidity, beautiful and strange as it is not a stable state. So the brain exits lucidity, because lucidity is, by its nature, temporary. It's a glimpse, a moment, a crack in the usual separation between conscious and unconscious. The brain allows it briefly, tolerates the paradox for a few moments or minutes, and then reasserts the normal order. Sleep or wake, dream or think, not both. The mechanisms that end lucidity, arousal, neurochemical shifts, exhaustion, narrative completion, are the brain's way of saying, enough, choose. And you do choose, even if not consciously. You choose to wake or to sleep. The middle ground cannot hold. And yet, the fact that it exists at all, that for brief periods you can be aware inside your dreams, reveals something profound about consciousness itself. It's more flexible than we assume, more layered, more strange. And understanding why lucid dreams end teaches us about what it means to be aware in the first place. You might be feeling tired now. That's perfectly fine. Breathe slowly. Feel the cycles, like your breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. A small cycle within the vast universe. You are also part of that eternal movement. You don't need to hold on to anything. Let everything unfold in its perfect order, like planets silently rotating in their orbits. Unhurried, unresisting, simply existing. We're almost there now. Lucid dreams reveal that reality is, to some degree, constructed by our minds. In waking life, we assume the world is simply out there, objective and independent. But lucid dreams show that vivid, detailed, seemingly real experiences can arise entirely from within. The dream world feels real while you're in it. Sounds, sights, sensations, all convincing. Yet it's all generated by your brain. This raises a question. How much of waking reality is also constructed? Neuroscience suggests quite a lot. Your brain interprets sensory data, fills in gaps, creates the seamless experience of consciousness. The boundary between perception and creation is blurrier than it seems. Lucid dreams make this visible. You see the construction happening, and that recognition changes how you think about waking life. Waking from lucid dreams reminds us how fragile consciousness is. A slight shift in chemistry, a small increase in arousal, and everything changes. You go from one mode of being to another in an instant. The dream that felt so real moments ago is gone. Irretrievable. This fragility exists in waking life too, though we ignore it. Consciousness depends on delicate balances in the brain. Injury, illness, substances, even emotions can alter it dramatically. We assume our waking self is solid, permanent. But lucid dreams show that states of consciousness are temporary and conditional. They arise, persist for a while, and dissolve. This isn't pessimistic. It's simply true, and recognizing it can bring tenderness to experience. The boundary between control and surrender in lucid dreams mirrors challenges in waking life. You want to control the dream, shape it, make it do what you want. But too much effort backfires. The dream resists or collapses. The same pattern appears in life. Trying to force outcomes often fails. Acceptance and flexibility often succeed better. Lucid dreams become a practice ground for this balance. You learn to guide without dominating, to intend without grasping. Many lucid dreamers report that insights from dreams carry over into waking behavior. They become less controlling, more responsive. They hold goals lightly. They trust the process more. The dream teaches patience and the limitations of willpower. Lucid dreams offer a unique form of solitude. In waking life, you're rarely completely alone. Even in isolation, you're aware of the world beyond yourself. But in a lucid dream, you're the only real consciousness present. The dream characters are parts of you. The environment is your creation. There's no other in any meaningful sense. This solitude can be peaceful or unsettling. Some people find it liberating, a space entirely their own. Others find it lonely or even frightening. But it's a pure form of being with yourself, unmediated by external reality. You're experiencing your own mind directly, and that can be revealing. You see your patterns, your fears, your desires, all laid out in symbolic form. The solitude of lucid dreaming is the solitude of self-encounter. The experience of waking from a lucid dream can feel like a small death. The dream self, the dream world, they cease to exist. Completely and immediately, what was vivid becomes nothing. This is a miniature version of the existential reality we all face. One day, our waking consciousness will also end. The self we take to be permanent will dissolve. Lucid dreams, by offering repeated experiences of dissolution, may help people become more comfortable with impermanence. Tibetan Buddhist monks use dream yoga explicitly for this purpose. They practice recognizing dreams, and through that practice, they prepare for recognizing the transitions of dying. The idea is that death is another shift in consciousness. Like waking from a dream, even without spiritual framing, lucid dreamers often report a changed relationship with endings, becoming more accepting and less clingy. Lucid dreaming sometimes brings insights that feel profound, revelations about life, relationships, or personal challenges. In the dream, the insight seems crystal clear, almost mystical. But when you wake and try to articulate it, the clarity often fades. What felt like deep wisdom becomes vague or even nonsensical. This is because insights in dreams arise from the associative, symbolic thinking of the sleeping brain, which operates differently from waking logic. The connections that feel meaningful in the dream don't translate well into language or linear thought. However, some insights do persist and prove valuable. The dream's freedom from waking constraints allows creative connections that the conscious mind might not make. Many artists, scientists, and writers report solving problems or finding inspiration in lucid dreams. The fact that lucid dreams are so difficult to sustain tells us something important about the nature of awareness. Full awareness requires effort and energy. It cannot be passive or automatic. In waking life, we often operate on autopilot, responding to stimuli without much conscious reflection. We assume we're aware, but much of the time, we're coasting. Lucid dreaming demands true awareness, and the difficulty of maintaining it shows how rare that actually is. Most of our mental life, asleep or awake, is habitual and unconscious. The brief moments of lucidity, whether in dreams or in waking mindfulness practices, are exceptions. They require intention and practice. This understanding can motivate people to cultivate more awareness in daily life, to wake up not just from dreams, but from the half-asleep state in which much of life is lived. Lucid dreams can be a source of joy simply for their own sake. Flying through beautiful landscapes, exploring impossible architectures, experiencing freedom from physical laws. These are delightful experiences. There doesn't need to be a deeper purpose. Play, wonder, beauty. These are valuable in themselves. Modern life often demands that everything be productive, purposeful, optimized. But lucid dreams remind us that experience can be its own reward. You might learn nothing practical from a lucid dream. You might gain no insight, but you might feel joy, awe, or peace. And that's enough. The brain is capable of generating happiness from within, without external input. Lucid dreams demonstrate this capacity. They're a gift the mind gives itself. Moments of freedom and beauty carved out of sleep. Waking from lucid dreams often brings a moment of disorientation, a brief confusion about which realm is real. The dream felt so vivid. The waking world feels solid. But for a few seconds, there's uncertainty. This disorientation is actually a valuable pause. It disrupts the assumption that waking reality is obviously inherently real. It opens a space for questioning. Many meditation traditions cultivate this kind of questioning. What is reality? What is mind? Lucid dreams naturally provoke these questions. And the disorientation, uncomfortable as it might be, is the beginning of genuine inquiry. You can't take reality for granted anymore. Not completely. There's always the possibility that what you're experiencing is not what it seems. This doesn't lead to paranoia or nihilism. Rather, it leads to a more open, curious relationship with experience. The neuroscience of lucid dreaming is still young, with many unanswered questions. Why do some people lucid dream spontaneously while others never do? Even with practice, what exactly determines when REM sleep will support lucidity versus regular dreaming? Are there long-term effects, positive or negative? From frequent lucid dreaming, researchers are investigating these questions, but definitive answers are still emerging. Some studies suggest that frequent lucid dreamers show enhanced metacognitive abilities even when awake, better at thinking about their own thinking. Others find no significant differences. There's no evidence that lucid dreaming is harmful, but there's also no consensus on optimal frequency or practice methods. The field is exciting precisely because so much is unknown. Each study adds a piece to the puzzle. So could lucid dreams change how we understand consciousness? They already have. They demonstrate that awareness is not an all-or-nothing phenomenon but comes in degrees and varieties. They show that sleep is not simply unconsciousness, but contains states of remarkable cognitive complexity. They reveal that the sleeping brain can think critically, make decisions, and create coherent experiences, challenging the idea that these abilities belong only to waking. Lucid dreams blur the categories we use to organize mental life: awake versus asleep, conscious versus unconscious, real versus imaginary. They force us to acknowledge that consciousness is more flexible and strange than our everyday experience suggests. And they invite deeper questions. If awareness can exist in dreams, what else might it exist in? What is the minimal necessary condition for consciousness? Lucid dreams don't answer these questions, but they make them urgent. Waking from a lucid dream, you carry a memory of being two things at once: the dreamer and the observer, the creator and the audience, asleep and awake. This doubleness lingers. You might go about your day feeling a faint echo of it, a sense that you're both living your life and watching yourself live it. This is mindfulness, being present while aware that you're present. Lucid dreams give you the taste of it automatically, showing you what it feels like to witness your own experience without getting lost in it. Once you've felt that, even briefly, it becomes easier to recognize in waking life. The dream becomes a teacher, not through lessons, but through the simple fact of the experience itself. Lucid dreams remind us that waking up is always possible. In any moment, you can pause and ask, am I aware? Am I dreaming? In the dream? This question triggers lucidity. In waking life, it triggers presence. The question itself is a form of awakening. It pulls you out of habit, out of assumption, into direct contact with experience. Many spiritual traditions teach that ordinary life is like a dream. Not literally, but in the sense that we move through it half-conscious, reactive, asleep to the present moment. Waking up from that sleep is the goal. Lucid dreams offer a metaphor and a method. They show that waking is always available, always just a question away. And they demonstrate that awareness, once cultivated, can persist even in unlikely places. If you can be aware while asleep, you can certainly be aware while washing dishes or sitting in traffic. The fact that lucid dreams end is not a failure, but part of their teaching. Impermanence is a fundamental characteristic of existence. Everything arises and passes, holding on to experiences, trying to make them last forever, creates suffering. Lucid dreams, by their very nature, cannot be grasped or extended indefinitely. They come and go according to their own logic. Learning to be present in the lucid dream without clinging to it, enjoying it while it lasts and letting it go when it ends, is practice for life. Everything you value will eventually end. Relationships, experiences, even your own consciousness. Lucid dreams offer a low-stakes environment to practice acceptance of endings. You can't stop the dream from dissolving. You can only appreciate it while it's here and release it gracefully when it's gone. This is not resignation. It's wisdom. Lucid dreaming can connect people to something larger than themselves. The experience of being conscious within the vast landscape of the dreaming mind can feel transcendent. You're exploring inner space, the territory of the psyche, and it's infinite. You contain worlds within you. You can create beauty, complexity, even consciousness itself, all from within. This recognition is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it shows how much of experience is your own projection. Empowering because it reveals your capacity for creativity and transformation. You are not just a passive receiver of reality. You're an active participant in creating it, in dreams and, to some extent, in waking life too. The vulnerability of lucid dreams, how easily they collapse, mirrors the vulnerability of all precious experiences. Moments of clarity, connection, joy. They're fragile. They depend on conditions aligning. And conditions change. A noise, a thought, a shift in chemistry, and the moment is gone. This is true for lucid dreams. It's also true for meditative states, for flow experiences, for moments of love or insight. Recognizing this fragility can help you cherish experiences more deeply. Instead of taking them for granted or assuming they'll return easily, you appreciate them as rare gifts. You don't cling, because clinging creates tension that destroys the experience. But you savor. You notice. You give the moment your full attention because you know it won't last. Lucid dreams, in their fleeting beauty, teach the art of appreciation without attachment. Some people fear lucid dreams, worried that questioning reality in dreams might lead to questioning reality when awake in unhealthy ways. This fear is understandable but largely unfounded. Lucid dreaming doesn't cause dissociation or psychosis. It doesn't make you unable to distinguish dreams from waking. In fact, it often has the opposite effect, because you practice recognizing the difference between dreaming and waking. You become clearer about the boundary, not more confused. Lucid dreamers often report feeling more grounded in waking life, not less. The concern might arise from a deeper anxiety about the nature of reality itself. If dreams can feel real, what guarantees that waking is not also a dream? Philosophy has wrestled with this question for millennia. Lucid dreaming brings it into lived experience. But experiencing the question doesn't mean losing your grip on reality. It means engaging with reality more thoughtfully. The practice of lucid dreaming cultivates patience and acceptance. You cannot force lucidity. You can create conditions, practice techniques, develop skills, but ultimately, lucidity arises on its own or it doesn't. This is frustrating for people who want immediate results, but it's also liberating. It teaches you to work towards something without demanding specific outcomes on specific timelines. You do your part. Reality check, journaling, mental preparation, and then you let go. The dream will come or it won't. This attitude, effort without attachment to results, is central to many wisdom traditions. It's how you avoid burnout and resentment. You care deeply, but hold lightly. Lucid dreaming, as a practice, naturally instills this balance. You care enough to try. You're detached enough to accept whatever happens. And over time, that balance deepens, affecting how you approach challenges in all areas of life. Lucid dreams can be rehearsal spaces for waking life. Athletes have used lucid dreams to practice skills, visualizing movements and techniques in the dream state. Studies suggest that mental rehearsal, even in dreams, activates similar neural pathways as actual physical practice, potentially enhancing performance. Public speakers practice presentations. People rehearse difficult conversations. The dream offers a risk-free environment to try things, fail, adjust, and try again. Because the dream responds to intention, you can create the exact scenario you want to practice. The effectiveness of this rehearsal is still being researched, but anecdotal reports are compelling. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagined and real experiences, especially in the immersive context of a lucid dream. So practice in the dream might genuinely prepare you for waking challenges. Ultimately, lucid dreams point to the mystery of consciousness itself. How does a physical brain generate subjective experience? Why is there something it's like to be you, rather than just information processing happening in darkness? Philosophers call this the hard problem of consciousness, and neuroscience hasn't solved it. Lucid dreams make the mystery more vivid. You're inside the brain's construction of reality, aware of both the construction and the constructor. You're the brain, observing itself dream. This recursive loop, awareness, aware of awareness, is strange and wonderful. It doesn't explain consciousness, but it reveals its depths. You're not just a body with a mind. You're a process of awareness reflecting on itself, capable of creating worlds and questioning them, of being asleep and awake simultaneously, of being one thing and many things. Lucid dreams don't solve the mystery. They deepen it. As we near the end of this journey through the science of lucid dreaming, consider what these fleeting moments of awareness reveal. They show us that consciousness is flexible, layered, and far stranger than we usually acknowledge. They remind us that the boundaries we draw between states of being are softer than they appear. They teach us about balance, the delicate equilibrium needed to sustain awareness in unlikely places. And they invite us to question, gently and without fear, what we mean by words like real, awake, and self. Lucid dreams are not just curiosities or entertainment. They're windows into the fundamental workings of mind and reality. And through those windows, we glimpse possibilities that we are more than we think, that awareness can bloom in unexpected places, that the mind contains depths we've barely begun to explore. The question that began our journey has many answers woven together. Emotions and effort, external sounds, neurochemical shifts, the brain's natural bias toward complete states rather than partial ones, the fragility of REM sleep itself, individual differences in arousal thresholds. And beneath all these mechanisms lies a fundamental truth. Lucid dreaming occupies an unstable middle ground between two powerful forces: the drive to sleep fully and the drive to wake completely. The sleeping brain cannot sustain waking-like awareness indefinitely. It chooses, consciously or not, to return to either full sleep or full waking. And in that choice, lucidity dissolves. This is not a flaw in your technique or a failure of will. It's the nature of consciousness itself. States arise, persist, and pass. Lucidity is one such state, beautiful, fleeting, and ultimately impermanent. But the impermanence doesn't diminish the value. If anything, it enhances it. Lucid dreams are precious exactly because they're rare and fragile. They offer moments of freedom, clarity, wonder, joy. They show you what your mind can do when it turns its attention inward. They connect you to the vast inner landscape that exists always, just beneath the surface of waking life. And when they end, when you wake and the dream dissolves, you carry something with you. A memory, a question, a sense of possibility, the knowledge that awareness is flexible, that you can be conscious in new ways. That reality is not quite as solid as it seems. These echoes linger. They change how you see yourself and the world. And that change, subtle as it may be, is the lasting gift of lucid dreaming. So if you've ever experienced a lucid dream, or if you're curious about them, or if you've tried and found them elusive, know this: the practice itself is valuable, not just the achievement. Each time you question whether you're dreaming, you're cultivating awareness. Each time you recall and record a dream, you're honoring your inner life. Each time you set an intention before sleep, you're engaging with your mind deliberately and creatively. The lucid dream, if it comes, is wonderful. But the journey toward it, the attention you bring to sleep, dreams, and consciousness, that journey changes you regardless of outcomes. You become more aware, more curious, more comfortable with mystery, and these qualities enrich waking life as much as any lucid dream ever could. What makes you suddenly wake from lucid dreams? In the end, the answer is this: you wake because consciousness cannot hold paradox forever. The dream is real and not real. You're asleep and awake. These contradictions create a beautiful, unstable state that cannot last, and so it resolves, tipping towards sleep or waking, dissolving the lucidity in the process. But the dissolution is not an ending. It's a transformation. The dream becomes a memory. The awareness returns to waking life, perhaps a little deeper, a little more present. And you, the dreamer, carry forward the knowledge that awareness is not fixed or limited, but can arise in the most unexpected places, even in sleep. That knowledge is the real treasure, not the lucid dream itself, but what it reveals about you, that you are capable of waking up again and again, in dreams and in life. And that capacity, once recognized, is yours to keep. And so, our quiet journey through the landscape of lucid dreaming comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the first spark of awareness in sleep to the delicate balance that sustains it, discovering along the way that consciousness itself is more fluid and mysterious than we often imagine. From the brain's gamma waves dancing in the frontal cortex to the moment everything dissolves back into darkness or waking light, we've glimpsed how lucid dreaming is both a window and a mirror, showing us the mechanics of mind while reflecting our own capacity for awareness. Lucid dreaming reminds us that the mind contains worlds within worlds, landscapes we create and explore simultaneously. Much of the deepest magic happens in silence, in the space between sleeping and waking, in the brief moments when we remember we're dreaming. These experiences reveal patience, the necessity of balance, and the beauty of impermanence. Without the fragility, there would be no preciousness. Without the endings, there would be no appreciation for the moments of lucidity while they last. By pausing to notice, we glimpse the extraordinary hiding in the ordinary rhythm of sleep. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about the unity of consciousness itself. Yours, mine, everyone listening, all awareness everywhere. Perhaps all connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. Prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left, only peace. If this thoughtful exploration of the mind helped you relax, fall asleep, or sparked curiosity tonight, a gentle like and subscribe helps other sleepless souls discover this peaceful space too. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to us. One quiet tap, one sleepy soul at a time. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight, farther than most journeys take you. Allow these thoughts of consciousness and dreaming to fade now, like fallen leaves settling softly onto forest ground, leaving only the soft calm behind. Your breathing deepens naturally. Your body feels heavier now, as if gravity itself is gently pulling you down into the mattress, into the earth below, into rest. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a slow river current, smoothly, inevitably, into a realm where time and weight no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, dreams will still be there. Awareness will still arise and fade. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, peaceful dreamer. And remember, consciousness is not something you have, but something you are. Flickering like candlelight, changing form, but never truly lost, finding itself again and again in the strangest places. Even in sleep, fall asleep to gentle facts. Where science meets sleep, dream deeper with bedtime science. Relax, listen, and drift into sleep. Good night.